Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel GMB SHOW. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. This morning's Ben Shephard was quick to call time after co-star Nick Ferrari divulged too much on air about his wedding night. As the host stated, enough. The veteran British radio personality, age 66, is currently wrapped up in the excitement of wedding preparations, having popped the question to long-standing love Claire Patterson earlier on in the year. With the sound of wedding bells in the air, and with a previous trip down the aisle under his belt, Nick had plenty to contribute to the recent discussion regarding new data suggesting that men are more inclined than women to gain weight post-marriage. During the chat about the intriguing findings with ITV's Kat Deely and Ben, Nick let slip details about his prenuptial weight loss journey, confiding his concern over the research's implications given his dedication to getting trim. Kat initiated the topic, stating, "New research has found that married men are more likely to pile on the pounds once they get the ring on their finger," reports Wales Online. She then sought perspective from Nick, remarking, "You've been there in the past, Nick, and you've got another one coming up, so you have both hindsight and foresight." But what came next left everyone gobsmacked, with the hosts believing that his recent slim down was for snaps and suit adjustments on the big day. However, Nick dropped a confession that caught them all by surprise. He said, "None of you have said well done. I have actually shed quite a lot of weight, so the idea that I'll now put it all back on again is quite disheartening." The broadcaster couldn't help but let slip a slightly risque comment about his upcoming wedding evening, leaving the studio in fits of laughter with his unintended innuendo. He said, "I've shed some weight so that on the wedding night, As he tried to cover his tracks, he joked, "Thank God this isn't going out live." Then correcting, "On the wedding day, I can dance to single ladies." Nick, chuckling at his own mishap, admitted, "Ugh, that went so badly wrong." Despite his attempt to shift focus, the banter about his wedding night lingered until Ben had to step in and declared, "Enough about Nick's wedding night." The bright studio lights of this morning glistened over the polished floor as the cameras rolled, but the tension wasn't coming from the usual technical chaos of a live broadcast. It was all about a single moment, an off-the-cuff confession from a co-star that caught Ben Shephard completely off guard. It began innocently enough. Ben and his co-host were midway through the morning's Love and Life segment, a slot filled with quirky relationship stories, when the conversation turned towards wedding night secrets. Viewers were treated to a laugh as Ben read aloud from the autocue. According to a new survey, nearly half of married couples confess something surprising to their partner on their wedding night. From past crushes to silly fears, it's all laid bare. He chuckled, shaking his head. "I'm not sure the wedding night is the best time for confessions, is it? You want romance, not revelations." But his co-star leaned in, a mischievous grin spreading across their face. "Oh, Ben, you'd be surprised. I made quite the confession on mine." The studio audience gave an audible "ooh" as Ben tilted his head, intrigued. "Go on then. What did you confess?" The co-star paused dramatically before blurting out, "That I nearly didn't turn up to the wedding." Gasps rippled through the set. Even the floor manager, hiding behind the cameras, widened his eyes. Ben's jaw dropped in theatrical disbelief. "You what?" "They didn't know," the co-star insisted, laughing nervously. "On the morning of my wedding, I had this wobble. I panicked. I thought, what if this isn't right? What if I'm making a huge mistake?" For a few moments, the studio dissolved into chaos, audience laughter, whispers, even a producer waving frantically at the gallery. But Ben, seasoned in the art of live television, held up his hand and leaned forward with that signature charm and authority. "Okay, hang on," he said, his tone half firm, half playful. "You cannot just casually drop that on live television without context. We're talking about your other half here. Imagine them sat at home right now, cup of tea in hand, choking on their biscuit. The room erupted again, but Ben pressed on, refusing to let the confession slide unchecked. So, let's be clear. Are you saying you almost ditched your wedding? Because if so, I'm going to have to step in as your lawyer, therapist, and possibly divorce mediator. His co-star squirmed in their seat, cheeks turning a shade of crimson. No, it wasn't that dramatic. I just had a moment of nerves. I mean, who doesn't? Ben folded his arms, shaking his head. That's not just nerves. That's the kind of thing you whisper to your best mate after the honeymoon. Not, he gestured around the studio with a grin, on this morning with half the country watching. The co-star buried his face in his hands, laughing uncontrollably now, while the viewers at home lit up social media. Tweets poured in. Did they really just admit that on TV? Ben Shephard's face is priceless. Protect that marriage at all costs. After a beat, Ben softened, his voice dropping into that warm, reassuring tone that made him such a fan favorite. Look, we've all had doubts before big moments. That's human. But clearly you made the right choice. You're still happily married, aren't you? Yes, the co-star said, finally regaining composure, and I wouldn't change a thing. Ben smiled knowingly. Then let's leave it there before you confess to anything else you'll regret later. He winked at the camera, and the studio burst into laughter once more. As the segment wrapped up, Ben muttered under his breath, loud enough for the microphones to catch, "Honestly, working here is better than any soap opera." Viewers couldn't have agreed more. By the end of the show, hashtags were trending, clips were circulating, and the moment had cemented itself as yet another iconic This Morning memory. Thanks to Ben Shephard's quick wit, calm authority, and his ability to shut down a confession before it spiraled into chaos.